From Transformers Studio Series, it is the Transformers the movie Soundwave. Yes, a brand new version of Soundwave, made especially for what was formerly known as the 86 line, but is now just called the Transformers the movie line in Studio Series. And he looks cool. He comes with Buzzsaw and Laserbeak and Ravage, so it can kind of fill in the holes that are missing since we have a Frenzy and a Rumble in the 86 line. But before I go too much further, I do want to thank our sponsor of this video, Toy Hacks. Toy Hacks has amazing decals to fix up your G1s and G2s, to enhance your later stuff, including Studio Series, Age of the Primes, Siege, Titans Returns, Combiner Wars. They got a lot of decals. And as you can see over here, you can really do some upgrading. And of course, they still have backgrounds and an armory. You definitely want to check them out at toyhacks.com. But first, you want to check out the new Studio Series Transformers the movie Soundwave. And so do I. So let's break this out, and we might have some fun along the way. Be right back. So Soundwave is one of the most popular characters in the history of Transformers. Up there with Optimus Prime, Megatron, Starscream, Bumblebee, and you can see here that they have done a new mold. And you can probably see over here there's a cat looking over the edge of the table. This is Stormy, and I'm hoping Stormy behaves. I'm going to very quickly cut through this box, and then I'm going to fold up the knife because I do not want the kitties to either get hurt or hurt me. Someone pointed out kittens are ninjas. So let's open up this box. And again, the return to the window boxes makes this so much better. Though I've apparently seen some people have been stealing some tapes. And I would hate to see someone put an earlier version of Soundwave in here. Figure swapping sucks, people. Oh, shitty piece of paper. I'm gonna throw this out just for Jennifer. She knows who she is. And we have instructions, and I'm gonna put the box aside. Let's take a look at what Soundwave looks like on his cardboard prison with his 3 minions and his accessories in a plastic bag. Again, they got sick of me complaining about the lack of Decepticon paper, and they said, "That's for you, Captain Kyle. We're gonna go with plastic bags." But he only has 3 of his minions, as you can see, 3 of his amazing friends, as he is the star of this shirt, which is available right now. If you go into the description, you can get one of these awesome shirts. But let's take a look at this awesome figure. And there he is, in his 3 cassettes in cassette mode. Let's zoom in a little so we can get a better look at this guy. And let's take also a look at the accessories. Of course, we do need to get all this plastic shit off my table. It's not only unsightly, but cats might decide to chew on it and swallow it, and that can't be healthy. So in the bag of parts, we have what appears to be the shoulder cannon for Soundwave. We have what appears to be the gun, and the reason I say that is because it has a tip that pulls out. Shut up, Logan. We also have 2 rocket boosters for Ravage, jets with guns included for Buzzsaw and Laserbeak. These 2 pieces, and this piece, which looks like Ravage's tail. I'm not sure, but that is why we have instruction. So I was right, obviously, about the shoulder cannon and the gun. These little plastic things are apparently somehow help with the mounting for the cassettes. Shut up, Logan. And yes, this is Ravage's tail. So we will be looking at the cassettes in a few moments. But I have to say, I'm a little disappointed with the fact that you have to add so much to them. Now, G1s were a little bit different, but even then, Ravage's tail was part of the cassette. But let's take a look at Soundwave first. And again, he's a nice looking figure. Pressing the button will cause his cassette section to eject. It looks like there's only room for 1 cassette in there. This is no Sound Blaster remold. He stands 6 3/4 inches tall. He does have a good size, but hard to see Decepticon symbol on his chest. Maybe when there's a cassette in there, it becomes easier to see. Let's load in a cassette, which they seem a little tight to go in. Logan, seeing if there's a better way to place the cassette. But yeah, even with a cassette in there, it's kind of pale and hard to see. And I don't recall, and I could be wrong, that Buzzsaw was a major part of the movie. I thought it was Laserbeak, Ratbat, Rumble, and Frenzy. Or no, Laserbeak, Ravage, Ratbat, Rumble, and Frenzy. Yeah, I don't remember Buzzsaw. It's been a long time since I've watched the movie, too long. I have to get back to it. But yeah, otherwise, he looks pretty cool. You can see he's got the normal cassette things on his crotch, and the actual cassette thing that will probably be in his cassette mode on his butt. That's how a lot of them are nowadays. In fact, for comparison, you can see he's a little shorter. This, I believe, is the one, unless I'm totally wrong and I have the wrong one with my display. But this is the Soundwave from the Nemesis bridge set, which is basically the Seed Soundwave and a lot of the other Soundwaves. So he's a little bit shorter, just to show some scaling. The cassette seemed to have a little bit of a hard time fitting into his chest as well. Let's see, butt buttons. And for some further scaling, this is the Generation 1. This is not a reissue. This is a G1 from 1984 or earlier. And since he was from the Microman line, they're about the same height, which is very cool, but definitely some differences in proportions and posability. So another spin on the turntable of doom, and let's take a look at some posability. And the first thing I always do, well, not always the first thing, but I always check, can they do a full Jean-Claude Van Damme? And he can, without a problem. In fact, it looks like he can slightly, he's on one side, go a little further. He has quite generous ankle swivels, way too generous. Doesn't need to be quite that generous, but would allow for some good posing. He can kick forward. He can kick back. His butt buttons move out of the way. He can do a side kick and a full split side kick. So very nice there. Bends at the knee about 90 degrees and swivels all the way around. So good posability there. Twisting at the waist all the way around. There does not seem to necessarily be an ab crunch. I mean, he can bow just because he can sit, so his legs can go forward, but no ab crunch in all actuality. The arms all the way around. Bends at the elbow. Has a swivel. So that is good. Arms can go out to the side. In fact, not straight out, a little bit higher than that. Head, a little stiff, but spins around without a problem, and no spinning of green goop. Can also wiggle slightly back and forth. So overall, a posable version of Soundwave. Not that I'm shocked. I'd be quite shocked if he wasn't posable, considering this is the supposedly definitive Transformers the movie version. Now, before I get into his alt mode, I am going to go over the cassettes, but I also wanted to do one more scaling just to see how he is next to the Studio Series Megatron. And he's a little shorter, slightly disappointing, not gonna lie. Let me straighten out his legs. Even with his legs straight, still a little bit shorter. He has been generally depicted as being the same height as Megatron, so still, he's bigger than putting this one next to him, so it's probably still worth it. Oh, his hands also twist at the wrist, and he has articulated fingers, all four together. I don't want to have to do an apology video. So there's some additional posability for you. But let's set him aside just for the moment and bring over his cassettes, of which again, there are 3, and none that cause any coloration, confusion, or debate. Buzzsaw, Laserbeak, and Ravage. So in this mode, that's pretty much it. I just want to see if Ravage can fit in a little more easily, which he can. The only thing is they all seem to be a little bit tough when you get to the bottom, so a little bit stiff to push all the way in. Since these cassettes, there's very limited things we can do. There's no roll test or anything. I will say that these cassettes do not have any stickers or indications that they are a cassette. They're just rectangles, unlike the original. So let's get Ravage transformed first, which it does have some elements from some other versions of Ravage, but I can definitely tell you there's a different transformation here. So there he is transformed, but without any accessories. Now, apparently, this tailpiece is where you attach the rocket boosters, and then you shove it right up his ass. It's actually pretty close to where that would be. So there he is with his accoutrement, his tail, and his tail does move, but I have to say that the attachment mechanism is not as sturdy as I might have hoped, because you're basically sliding it into a slot in his backside that it's kind of shallow, so it can come out pretty easy. He does have some nice Decepticon symbols on his shoulders or upper front legs, and he does have some posability because the front legs can be moved forward and back. You can also bend them at their joints. He can move his back legs a little bit forward and back, but not much point. There is no motions for the head, though it's part of the transformation. You can kind of slightly twist him, but I don't know that he looks all that good when you do that. So there is Ravage. Now it would appear that both Laserbeak and Buzzsaw obviously have the same transformation and are a little simpler to transform. Ravage had 12 steps on a 12-step program. I mean, after the end of the war and then he got blown up on that ship and somehow, I guess, maybe survived, I'd be in a 12-step program too. And apparently one of the steps I already did, which was attaching together his guns on that particular stand. So yeah, these guys are very simple, but I have to say they look pretty good. So there are Laserbeak and Buzzsaw in their Condor modes. These are actually supposed to be Condors. And not much posability. The head can go back. You can change the angle of the neck slightly, but pretty much you're going to want to leave them in that position. But they are pretty good. All right, let's get back to Soundwave. I'm going to remove his accessories. Now, according to the instructions, there are 24 steps. And I might be able to figure it out without the instructions, but I would rather go by the instructions and see what new cleverness there is to discover. So apparently arms out to the side and you fold in his fists like so. Put down his arms, turn them around, and in the back he's got these plates that you open up. Then you take this whole thing and pull it back at an angle, push in the head and push it back. Now his weapons, which someone was quite amazed to find out are actually batteries, to plug into the back. Yes, even the original ones were weapons that were formed from batteries. So you attach the weapons there, and then you fold these covers over them. And apparently there is a little long post and a slot, so you can actually push them in, and it stays. Then the arms you fold back, like so. Coming around to the front, we give it a twist, which is not a big surprise considering we saw the buttons. You lift up the now crotch buttons, and you fold out the side panels. Now on his legs, we're looking at the back now, you can fold out these two pieces, and in the opposite direction, you open up these two panels. Now, he's got high heels for some reason, so you fold those out, turn his feet around, and then fold those in. And now the high heels make more sense because they're kind of a cover for that area. Now turning him this way, it says push these down. I don't see what to do with those, so I'm going to flip them back around and see if there's any problem folding these in, which there's not. Twist these, swivel them, then lift these up, and there are posts galore on the inside of the shoulders. Those go into the legs. There's one on the arm that goes into the leg. There's also one on the leg that goes into the side of the chest. So yeah, again, I don't know if these side pieces are able to, during his robot mode, push out a little bit. I didn't notice that, but looks like the final step, and my apologies, because it continues on the next page. There's 28 steps. You push this down. Big shocker. But steps 26, 27, and 28 are basically opening this up and putting in a cassette, which I don't feel like doing. We did that before. So there he is in his cassette mode. Looks good. So I do like some of the detailing on here, though it is now covered up by the way this set up. There was actually on the inside of his legs, there was a control for the volume, and the other one, the slider for the power. But that is not viewable in this mode, which makes it interesting that they would do that. Now he is 2.5 inches tall, about almost 4.5 inches wide. In thickness, he's about 2 inches. So nice, compact micro cassette recorder. Now, a lot of people who aren't familiar with the period of time, and even people who are, always thought he was like a Walkman or something. He is not. He is actually a micro cassette player. This was used by attorneys, doctors, whoever needed to do dictation or take notes to record such things, cassettes that were about the size of the original cassettes, like this size. And I've actually come across a number of them. This model was never actually used. It is a fake model. It is not modeled after any specific micro cassette player. There was none in exactly this configuration. Usually they were longer and they'd have the cassette on one side. But just to show size-wise, this is next to the Nemesis bridge set / Siege / Earthrise / whatever the fuck it was. They're about the same size. This one just becomes a little bit taller. About the same length, same width, same thickness, but the transformation is a little bit different and the batteries are more exposed on this one. Whereas this one has a battery container, and again, they're very similar in size. This one, though, is 4 inches with a width of, if you count the clip, almost 1 3/4 inches, but it's more like 1.5 inches. And height-wise, about 2 3/4 inches. So slightly taller, slightly thinner, you know, which is what we all strive to be. But still, I have to say, the Soundwave, really, really nice. Very clever transformation. I mean, gives it away a little bit towards the back, which, you know, the original never did. But the buttons are also more flush, which is not the case with the other Earthrise Siege ones. And he doesn't have this extra weird weapon that becomes an antenna or something. So overall, Soundwave great. Good on Laserbeak and Buzzsaw. Not the most complex transformation, but they do have a little bit of posability because you can put their wings down. But these are good. Ravage, again, a little bit disappointing. The Masterpiece one is still, I think, the best. And the fact that his tail and rockets are not included, even on these, the fact that the rockets and weapons are not included inside is a little bit disappointing because obviously they've managed to do that in the past and they've come out pretty well. And it's stormy again, just in time. And obviously the decal on him a bit plainer than the original, which is why you might want to head over to our sponsor, Toy Hacks, who has all kinds of decals that can enhance your stuff. If they don't have these out already, they're coming soon, I'm sure, to spruce up your Studio Series Soundwave. And maybe even, you know, these guys. And check them out for decals for your G1s, G2s, and pretty much all the lines out there that could use some enhancement, plus backdrops. And an armory. Toyhacks.com, check them out. And I put a link in the description so that you can try to find this. It is rather popular. It may be sold out at a lot of places. So I've put the eBay link, which will also allow you to hopefully get it, but hopefully not too high of a price. And I think it's a fun and good version of Soundwave. And if you are having fun, by all means, feel free to subscribe to this channel. That would be awesome. And while you are mulling over this new version of Soundwave, actually check out this video over here, which is that Nemesis bridge set. So you can see this Soundwave, Shockwave, and Megatron. And we'll see you next time. As always, have fun and good hunting.